In the myth, after throwing up the sacred stone, Cronus regurgitates Zeus's 5 siblings. And they are ready to join Zeus's revolution.
What marks Zeus as a different kind of leader from those that have come before is his intelligence. He's able to persuade and convince those around him that he should be leader, and he's able to build coalitions.
Zeus now has his siblings by his side, but he still needs more muscle to take on the Titans. And there are some other estranged members of the family who are out for revenge. Forgotten brothers of Cronus, the Cyclops, and the 100-handers. But to find them, Zeus has to go to hell.
Kronos had feared the powers of these 100-handers and the Cyclopses, and he locked them down into Tartarus. Zeus knew that if he could get their power on his side, he could marshal it to his own ends. He goes down and talks to the 100-handers and says, "I will pay you great respect. And I know that my father Kronos has mistreated you. Now I've freed you, and now you owe me." And even they are moved, and they say, "Yes, great Zeus, we realize not only are you very powerful, but you also know how to treat people well. So we appreciate that, and we will now fight on your side."
In gratitude for being liberated, the Cyclops present Zeus with a gift: the power of lightning.
Lightning is one of the most devastatingly powerful forces in nature. When lightning arcs through the air is briefly raised to a temperature that can be more than 50,000 degrees. That's 5 times the surface temperature of the sun.
The lightning bolt gives Zeus the power to rule the universe. With this lightning bolt, no one's going to be able to overthrow him.
The battle lines are drawn. The Titans will fight from Mount Othrys, the Olympians from Mount Olympus. Between them lies the plain of Thessaly. But this isn't just a mythical battlefield.
Thessaly is actually, if we take into consideration the modern map of Greece, is the central part of Greece. It's the biggest plain and the most fertile plain in Greece from ancient times to today.
Thessaly has a long, bloody history, stretching from the Greco-Persian Wars of the 5th century BC to the World Wars of the 20th century AD. And it is here that the ultimate battle of the gods will play out. Armed with a weapon of mass destruction and an elite fighting force, Zeus braces for an earth-shattering battle. And to this day, a real place may still bear the scars. For the survivors, who knew little about how volcanoes work, it could only have been the wrath of the gods.
When the ancient myth tellers told the story of great cataclysmic battles that shook the earth, they weren't doing so in a vacuum. There hadn't been massive seismic events that had happened in the memory of some of the earlier generations of Greeks before these myth tellers had written down their stories.
As the clash of the gods plays out in the myth, it appears Zeus is finally about to seize control of the universe. His powerful allies have tipped the balance, and the Olympians are closing in on victory. But the Titans have one last weapon at their disposal. From the depths of Tartarus, they call forth a colossal beast, Typhon.
Typhon is a tremendously strong, powerful monster that's challenging Zeus himself. It's a last gasp effort, and the final monster, the final challenge he has to put down in order to secure his reign over the universe.
It is a supernatural deathmatch, a decisive struggle between good and evil. And it will all come down to the ultimate weapon.
As Zeus and Typhon are engaged in this final epic battle, Zeus eventually gets the upper hand and wins via his lightning bolt.
With one final assault, Zeus drives Typhon and his Titan allies down into Tartarus, where they are damned to spend eternity in a fiery abyss. According to the ancients, it was across the Mediterranean, on the island of Sicily, that Zeus's enemies descended into hell through the volcanic crater of Mount Etna.
Greeks used this myth as a way of explaining why lava was constantly pouring out of the volcano. They explained that as either the remnants of Zeus's lightning constantly shooting out, or of the flames of Typho, who's still breathing just a little bit, exploding flame out of the center of the volcano.
It is also said that Typhon causes destructive windstorms. In fact, his name is the basis for the word typhoon. But in the myth, the storm clouds have broken, for the time being. Zeus's victory over his father makes him the king of the gods, the absolute ruler of the universe. This headless statue was found in a nearby riverbed. Carved into its 2,400-year-old base are 3 words: Zeus the highest. There's a debate among experts about what this reference to the highest means. Some believe this statue could be a missing link between Greece's worship of many gods and the single God philosophy of Christians and Jews, and that this find is proof that the Greeks were embracing the idea of one God on their own before the arrival of Christianity.
When people did something wrong, they would have to be very, very careful that Zeus did not smite them with a thunderbolt. There are many, many examples in Greek history of Zeus destroying entire cities and civilizations because he felt that they had overreached themselves, that they had blasphemed the gods, that they had become too proud to be allowed to live any longer.
The Greek author Hesiod wrote that without the fear of Zeus's wrath, humans would live like beasts, and the weak would be in the hands of the strong.
Zeus is the order bringer. Zeus is the bringer of justice and the bringer of civilization.
When natural catastrophes occurred in the real world, the Greeks believed that they were sent by Zeus to punish evil men. Often stories were invented to explain what had made the supreme god so angry. The catastrophic flood. Nine days and nights pass. The rain is relentless, and the earth slowly drowns. The waters reach the peak of Mount Parnassus, which stands over 8,000 feet high. In all corners of the earth, the human race perishes. When the rain stops, only 2 mortals are still alive. Incredibly, they have survived the storm by building an ark. Jesus Christ. In the 1st century AD, his message would take the world by storm and dethrone Greece's dominant god.
When Christianity came and promised salvation in the afterlife, so gave people something to believe in, something that could happen to them after their death,